Corey here with the Spiritual Archaeologist channel, and today I want to go on a dig of digging up the evidence of angels. And I have kind of a what I think is a unique perspective on angels. I know that a lot of people think angels, they think wings and cherub and little arrows and love and all that stuff, all that ethereal stuff, which I love divine entities too, but I'm talking about earth angels today. When I was a little girl, there were two things that happened, and it's funny because I had just remembered these the other night when I was getting ready to go to sleep. They kept coming into my mind, and so I thought I'd do a video on it. I lived in a townhouse, and just a row of townhouses, and it was a U shaped set of townhouses, and then in the middle was a courtyard and the dumpsters and then parking. And I couldn't have been more than 6, and I was outside playing, and I wasn't being supervised, not sure why, but people were always close by, but you just can't watch everybody every second, which is sad. But these two little boys got a hold of me and threw me in the dumpster, and I was tiny, tiny, tiny little kid, and it scared me to death. I was in a dumpster, and they had these long pieces of rubber that were about that wide, and every time I would reach my hands up to pull myself out of the dumpster, because I couldn't even see over the top of this thing, they would hit my hands with these rubber pieces. And so I learned real quick to keep my hands in, and the feeling of being trapped was just traumatizing. It was traumatizing. Anyway, I heard this guy start yelling, and that scared me too, because I didn't really know what was happening. I mean, I was so out of my mind with terror at the moment. And then I heard the boys running. I heard their little tennis shoes on the concrete running away. And this man, giant man, because I was so tiny, everybody's so big when you're little, he plucked me out of the dumpster and wrapped me in his arms and carried me home, asked me where I lived, and I showed him, and I just cried and cried and cried and cried, of course, but he carried me home, and he carried me to safety, and he was the exact angel I needed in that moment to be okay. You know what I'm saying? And I look back over my life, and I see I did not intend on crying. I just see all this evidence of angels. I've always had, Spirit has always put an angel on my path when I've needed them, and a lot of times when I didn't need them too. And I think when we look back and we dig up the treasures of the evidence of angels, that we can all find them. They're there, and I'm sure while you're listening to me, it's probably stirring up memories in you. And then one other thing happened. I lived in the same townhouse, and my mother was home from work this day. I think the dumpster story, I think my brother was supposed to be watching me, but like I said, I don't blame. I mean, you can't watch Rugrats every second, right? So I was riding my little trike in the back of the house, so this was behind the courtyard. We had a little sidewalk, and we had backyards, but the fences were really high, so you couldn't be in your little back postage stamp yard and see outside of it. So she was in the house, and I'm cruising along on my trike, having a good old time, and it's a sunny day. And next thing I know, I'm knocked to the ground. And it's dark. It's pitch dark. And what had happened was 2 Doberman pinschers ran up to me, knocked me off my trike, and were hovering and circling around me, over me. And again, I couldn't have been more than 6. I was probably even littler, maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. I was little. I know that. And I just remember it being so dark, and how scared I was, because I was curled up in a ball on the ground with two dogs over me, and I'm thinking they're gonna kill me, they're gonna eat me. You know, little kids think that way. So again, another man, a younger guy this time, was walking down the street, and he happened to come across this situation with me, and he yelled, and I just remember the light. It was dark and then it was light again, and I instantly felt safer because it got so light. And then he bent down and I was looking up at him, and the sun was directly behind him, so I couldn't see his face, but I could see that bright halo of light around him. And that's all I remember of this man. And he asked, same thing, picked me up, I'm crying, just a mess, and he asked me where I lived, and he walked me around to the front of the building and all the way to my home, and took me home to safety. And one thing I do remember too about that is that when he knocked on the door and my mom opened the door and saw this stranger holding her tiny child, who I had scrape mark, you know, I was scraped up and bleeding a little bit because they knocked me down on the ground. And she had this look of pure terror and, oh my God, how could I let this happen to my child? That's the look she had on her face. And I will always remember that. And it scared me, because I always thought, you know, mom's God and nothing bad can happen to me, and that look on her face told me different. And that was hard to see. But the fact of the matter is that I had an angel there right precisely when I needed that angel. And there are many, many, many times in my life since then that I've had the angels in my life, and I am the angel for other people. We all are. We all are, you know? That's what we're here for, is to be somebody else's angel when they need us. I love this dig, and those memories are hard but so beautiful, and I love sharing these stories with you. So I hope you enjoyed this dig of digging up the treasures of the evidence of angels, and I hope you think about it and fondly remember the stories of your angels, and I hope that you come and join me on more digs. So I will see you soon. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.